Welcome to Girlish Gurus. I'm Joy.
And I'm Susan. And we're here to have discussions about topics on many subjects that we hope are informative, uplifting, and fun.
So, let's get started.
Let's. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Girlish Gurus.
Hello, hello.
I'm Susan.
I'm Joy.
So we have an interesting topic today. I don't even remember how I came up with the idea of thinking about the discussion of this, but we're going to talk about ageism today. Mm-hmm. And there are two aspects to it, actually. We're probably going to focus primarily on ageism for older individuals, but there's also ageism for young people.
Oh, yes.
It does exist, and I can remember it happened for me when I was a young person.
Oh, me too. Sure.
But we'll probably primarily focus on how it affects older individuals today, but a mention here and there of how it affects young people as well. So the primary source for the information that we're going to initially talk about is this study that was done between the United Nations, and in this case, they joined forces with the World Health Organization to look at how to improve the lives of older people. And again, as I said, they mentioned younger people too, but their families, the communities that they live in, and how we can do a better job of serving older individuals. So the World Health Organization suggests that ageism is a prevalent global problem that contributes to poor health, social isolation, premature death, and high economic costs. The WHO estimates that 6.3 million cases of depression worldwide can be attributed to the effects of ageism.
Wow. Millions.
And again, I'm going to say that has to do with young individuals as well as older individuals.
Without question. Absolutely.
To me, that was astounding. That number.
That is mind-boggling.
Right? They focused on some specific areas when they decided to take the initiative for these next 10 years. I guess we're at the very beginning of it, but started in 2021. But the areas they're focused on are age-friendly environments, combating ageism, integrated care, and long-term care. Those are the primary focuses. And I guess in here is where they kind of defined what ageism is. And they say it is stereotyping how we think, prejudice, how we feel, and discrimination, how we act towards people on the basis of their age. It affects people of all ages, but has particularly negative effects on the health and well-being of older people. And that's in this study to prepare how they want to make changes. This is what they found, and this is how they've defined it.
And this is more and more of a relevant issue because our over 50 population is growing and growing.
That's right.
So,
yeah. And how we choose to look at that population and treat them, to me, is indicative of who we are as a society. Mm. And different cultures treat older individuals differently. Mm-hmm. I think we as Americans probably don't do the best job necessarily. However, we will share the link to this study because it is voluminous. Mm-hmm. It is lots of information.
Oh, yeah.
But we are not the worst by far. I will say.
Really?
No, we aren't, which was surprising to me too. I actually thought we would be, but we're not. Asian cultures tend to actually have a lot of reverence and respect for their older citizens, their older family members. They look to them for wisdom and support. I would also say that is true of the Native American cultures, but many others, it's not that way at all, which is a sad statement. Really. I'm going to take a look at one of the areas of the report that talked about the different sectors and where we see ageism and how it plays out. So the three big areas they cited that it's seen most prevalently or most easily recognized, I guess, is in health and social care, in the work environment, and in the media.
That's not surprising.
No. So in health and social care, I'm going to kind of talk about how young people are affected by it and then how older people are. The positive aspects for younger people in health and social care are they are healthy, they're physically active, they're strong and energetic. The positives for older people are they're usually seen as warm and likable. Right? That's how their stereotype is. The negative stereotypes for young people are that they are risk takers, they're drug users, they're stressed and anxious. For older people, it's that they're rigid, they're irritable and frustrating, they're lonely and isolated, they're frail and weak, they're asexual, they're easily confused, they're depressed and depressing, they're needy, and they're disabled. In a work environment, somewhat similar, it can happen that younger people are seen as more energetic, ambitious, tech savvy, hardworking, where older people are looked at as, these are the positives, reliable, committed, experienced, hardworking, socially skilled, good mentors and leaders, and able to deal with change. The negatives are for young people, narcissistic, disloyal, entitled, lazy, unmotivated, easily distracted. For older people, incompetent and unproductive, unmotivated, resistant to change, harder to train, unable to learn, not flexible, not technologically competent.
Well, I can tell you that my dad, who's 85, he has no idea how to operate his iPhone.
So, I mean, while these are stereotypes, I mean, some of these statements are true on both sides.
Sure,
both
of course.
The young person's side and the older person's side, I think. But we, as a society, have to change our mindset in stereotyping people as this way or this way, and just be looking at each individual as an individual, right? Because that's how we're going to combat the ageism, I think. Positives for young, they're attractive, healthy. For older people, it could also be the same: healthy, engaged, productive, self-reliant. The negatives for young people are they're troublesome, violent criminals. For older people, it is unattractive, unhappy, senile, badly dressed, inactive, dependent, unhealthy, disempowered and poor, vulnerable, and diabolical.
Diabolical.
I don't know how that made the list, but it's on there. So anyway, there are so many positive and negatives in both, but I think we tend to focus on the negative on the older people more likely than not, and the positives on the young people.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's a conversation we could continue to have over and over again, especially you and I, who are 50 and over. In the world of women, it is not a great thing to age, and it's a great thing to be young. So I can see where in that environment, particularly as women, we are taught that it's good to be young and it's not great to be older. Whereas the difference for men is it's always good to be a man.
It's
right?
true. And as they age, they are many times looked at as becoming more handsome,
Distinguished.
more virile, more distinguished, right? Where we as women are looked at, like if you have gray hair, or it used to be, I think it is getting better, used to be that was like the...
Oh my God, she's got
curse,
gray hair.
right?
Cover it. Cover it. Dye your hair.
Right.
Yeah.
Why would you want to look old with gray hair? And that just isn't the case. I know people who have gorgeous hair. They don't color their hair. It's gray and it is beautiful and they look beautiful. So yeah, there's definitely a double standard when it comes to women and men and the aging process, which is a whole nother
Entirely. Yeah.
discussion.
We could talk about that.
Right.
We could devote multiple podcasts to that topic.
Right. But the three ways to kind of look at how we see ageism as individuals is, well, we receive it from institutional sources, right? So that would be anything like the government, like the medical community, financial institutions, legal institutions, housing, technology, anything.
It's everywhere.
Anything.
It's everywhere, yes.
But then we also have it where it's self-directed. So we're actually look at ourselves and go, oh, I'm just so old. That's why we do direct it towards ourselves sometimes. And then it's also interpersonal. So between individuals or groups of people. Right? So those are kind of the three ways I think that and this is what the report talks about, how we experience it. And we can be our own worst
critics, yeah.
critics when it comes to that stuff. And, I think you're this way too, Joy, but I don't think about my age. Like, I don't think of that number. When I hear it, sometimes I go, no. I can't be that old. I am not that old because in my mind, I am not.
Same here.
I feel like my life experience, what I've gained from everything I've experienced in my life has given me so much wisdom and knowledge, and I am so appreciative of that.
In my case, peace.
Oh my gosh, yes, peace. Without a doubt, peace. And I know I'm very fortunate. I'm healthy.
Oh, yes.
Physically, so I don't...
You're gorgeous.
So I don't feel, probably my age, right? But I know that some people struggle with disease, and sometimes those physical ailments can probably make you feel older than you even are, right? No matter what your age. So like I said, there's a ton of information in that initial report, which we will share with you. I'm not sure anybody will want to read through that old thing, but there is some really fascinating information available. And we'll get back to it in a minute because they talk about how they see us as a society making improvements so that this doesn't continue to happen, right? But another article that was in Very Well Mind, which we'll share, the primary areas they mentioned were in the workplace and in healthcare. One of the statistics they listed, two of them were kind of surprising to me, was that almost a quarter of all claims filed by workers are related to age-based discrimination. So 25%, which is interesting. And then ARP, which was cited in this article, I'm sure everybody knows who ARP is, American Association for Retired People. They talked about reports that were done cite that 1 in every 5 workers in the United States is over the age of 55, and nearly 65% of workers say that they have experienced age-based discrimination at work, and 58% of those believe that ageism became apparent starting at age 50 in the workplace.
Interesting.
But I could see that.
I can see that. I can see that age-related discrimination becomes apparent, starts at around the age of 50, because retirement age used to be 55, right? Used to be.
Well, and I think, too, our culture has focused on young people and go-getters, and that they have the energy to go out there and make things happen. And we've kind of devalued what older workers bring to the table.
Well, that's true, but we also have more and more older workers because folks can no longer afford to retire at 55.
Well, that is true.
They have to continue working well into their 70s, at least.
Yes.
And some even beyond, to supplement Social Security.
Well, okay, so therein lies one of the areas where this has become a problem, right? We as a society, are we able to support older individuals the way we need to? Right? Do we have the means to do that any longer? People are living longer, yes. But they are also now more responsible for their retirement years, where people used to have pensions that would take care of that thing. That's gone by the wayside, except in, like, you talk about the police, teachers,
military,
fire department, those
government
kinds of
jobs.
Things. They still have pensions, but...
And even those sectors are starting to get away from...
They can't afford it.
Employer-funded pensions, and putting the focus on employee...
Right. States, cities can't afford to support those accounts any longer because people are living longer.
It's expensive.
Right? And healthcare has improved enough where people are staying healthy longer. So, and those pension plans were not designed to support someone for another 30 years after they retire, right? So that you've got that whole issue. But I just think there's so much wisdom in these older workers, so much knowledge they have that they can impart. And yes, technology has stepped up. Like, I can speak for the industry that I spent most of my career in, which is insurance. It's definitely geared more towards using data and information and technology, and more away from individual knowledge and decision making. However, there are pieces where that is still valuable.
Oh, yes,
and
absolutely.
Needed, right? But, what the pandemic did was cause a lot of these people to retire. So that knowledge base has left the industry, and now
Right.
they're like
Scrambling.
for that knowledge and support. Anyway, so let me just cite another fact here. The American Psychological Association says that ageism is a serious issue and should be treated the same as sex, race, and disability-based discrimination. And I think it has become that.
Oh, well, I think it's always been that. It's just
We've not recognized it as...
or been able to articulate it.
Right. There's a lot that can be done. We can certainly improve how we look at this in other individuals.
That's a good point. Let's take a couple of minutes to talk about solutions or ways we can address this or things that we can do.
Well, some of the things in the World Health Organization report that I thought they are focusing on as strategies to reduce ageism, I'll just cite these and then we can maybe talk about them a little bit. The first one they said is policy and law, which doesn't always work, but it's a
Right.
starting point, right? They talk about to address discrimination and inequality in human rights laws, but then you have to enforce those. And that becomes an issue, right?
We call that an unfunded mandate.
Yeah, right?
Right.
So I don't know how well that is actually going to work, but I guess it is a starting point. It brings up awareness, if nothing
Right.
else, right? Educational interventions. To me, that's going to be
the most important thing. Yeah.
a key way of doing
Yeah.
this, right? Is educating people on what it means and why it's not good for any of us on either side of the equation.
Right.
To do it to the young or to do it to older individuals, because we both contribute to society. Both sides contribute, right? And we need to recognize that. The last one they are working to implement is intergenerational contact interventions.
Ah, I love this one. I was wondering if this was going to pop up at some point.
Yeah, I love it too, because I think that may be the best way. It's just like with any prejudice or stereotype that you have, if you bring two people together who may have that opinion of one another and they interact, the likelihood they're going to walk away still feeling the same is highly unlikely.
Is reduced, I would say.
Is reduced, I'm sorry. Yes, is reduced by, I would say, by quite a lot
Right.
in most cases. So if you can figure out ways to bring the generations together to interact more and support one another.
I think that would be a great solution, because then you got the benefits of youth and the tech ability combined with the wisdom and experience and knowledge of an older generation. And man, what a powerful combination. Think about that for a second.
Right.
That's a 1-2 punch.
Well, when I was working at my last company, I was a member of the senior management team, and we had a mentorship program at the company. And I volunteered to be part of that and mentor one of our younger workers, and I was excited to do it. And when she and I first started meeting, and she's such an amazing young woman, she's smart and ambitious and creative and just a whiz. One of the first things I said to her is, this is not a one-way street here. I'm hoping to learn as much from you as you are hoping to learn from me. So please keep that in mind, that I want you to share information with me that you think could be helpful to me in doing a better job here, as much as I want to help you maneuver and navigate your career and your position here. And we had both had such a great experience during that mentorship program. I loved it. Yeah. So 3 of the recommendations that were made, and these get kind of technical, but I'll go ahead and recite them. And then I want to talk about some more fun things I found that are happening out there that will give you access to looking at as well. But these are from the WHO Global Report on Ageism.
Every time you say who, I think, Horton hears a who.
Who? I think, what I think of is that. I don't know why, but I keep thinking of the Tootsie Pop owl.
Yeah.
Anyway. So these are the recommendations for action that the World Health Organization Global Report on Ageism included. And recommendation 1 is to invest in evidence-based strategies to prevent and tackle ageism. Recommendation 2, improve data and research to gain a better understanding of ageism and how to reduce it. Again, we're back to the data. How we're collecting it, what it is, and how we can use all of that in a positive way. And then the third element is to build a movement to change the narrative around age and aging. And that's up to us as individuals.
Well, I think you and I are kind of helping with that, doing what we're doing.
I hope so.
You're turning 60 this year.
Yes,
I just turned 50. And look at us podcasting like a couple of bosses.
And having fun doing it.
Oh, having loads of fun. And not just podcasting. Video, social media, all those things.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm having a ball. I'm making mistakes, but I'm learning.
I look at the camera today. It's a little wonky. I mean, it is what it is.
And in a way, that's great because I used to have so many issues with making mistakes.
Oh, same here. Perfectionism.
Yes. Still can drive me insane, but was really bad before. And now I'm just like, oh well.
We're going to
made a
move
mistake.
on.
I'll do better next time. This is what I learned from it. Okay, let's move on.
The typo in the makeover video. Oh, I'm still kicking myself about that. My bad. But you're right, because that comes from age and experience and wisdom.
That's right. And
because mistakes are going to happen, and that's how it is.
We are not perfect.
We are not, but
Human beings are not perfect.
Correct. But this is so much fun. It is so fun.
The whole thing is, we do have to change the narrative around it. It's the only way it's going to get better. Well, let me share some fun things I found in an article. This is from one of my favorite organizations that I repeatedly go back to for information, the Global Wellness Summit. I just love looking at the research they do, the information they provide, and they had an article that I will share, and it's in their trends area. It says companies target the 55 plus with the cool products and campaigns once reserved for millennials. So I thought, wow, this is great. This is great news. And so there's several articles in some major publications. I'm not going to go through a lot, but I am going to read like the basic headline and the publication or organization that published this study, and then we'll provide this for you to look at these articles. So the first one is the new emerging 50 plus, unpacking the most powerful discerning consumer in history.
Wow.
And that's part of
Holy cow. Think about that for a second.
It's true, though. So this is from the Global Wellness Summit keynote speaker. And what it says, this was at the October 2019 Global Wellness Summit. David Harry Stewart, the CEO of Ageist, explained how the 50 plus are the most discerning, moneyed consumer segment the world has ever known, and how this tribe is global and mobile, and their numbers and power are rapidly growing.
Holy cow.
That's a statement right there.
You go. That's right.
So,
but he's not wrong.
No, he's not. He's absolutely right.
Look at you and me.
And it's the baby boomers. They've got tons of money to spend. They want to spend it. They want to travel. They want to go have fun.
And they are healthy.
Yes.
Tech savvy.
Yep. So it's interesting, and it says for companies that get them, they're the biggest business opportunity of our time.
Holy cow.
Ooh, I got goosebumps on that one, which is true, again. So there you go. So the next little article they cite is, I thought this one was funny, are baby boomers the next Kardashians? And this was in Forbes. And the little headline for it is, why we need to rethink everything about baby boomers, from the fact that they spend more time online than millennials to how they control the majority of disposable income. Details how boomers are the new influencers, and they're not just promoting old people brands. They're collaborating with the likes of Chanel and H&M. So there again, don't underestimate us.
Right, that's right. Well, look, some of those big name brands are bringing back, like, for example, Isabella Rossellini. She was the face of, was it Lancome? she was gone for, I don't know, 20 years. And then they contacted her and asked her to come back and be a brand ambassador again. And so she got back into that role as an older person and has been in some of their marketing materials lately.
Okay, so the next one is don't underestimate the market power of the 50 plus crowd. And this is the Harvard Business Review. This article explores the ageism that has plagued marketers and the profound disconnect between the over 50 spending power and the pathetic amount of marketing budgets, only 5 to 10%, devoted to winning them over. Think about that. So 90 to 95% of marketing budgets don't even include those of us over 50. This particular article goes on to say, or the headline of it says, how marketers have gotten the messages all wrong, blitzing them with ads about the health decline when they want info on great hip hotels in Rome or nearby wellness retreats.
Thank you.
Right? So they aren't getting it because, unfortunately, probably a lot of the people in the marketing industry are young, aggressive individuals, and they aren't asking.
That's right. Right.
What do we need to be focused on for people over 50?
They don't understand where the money is.
So the next one is from The Guardian. This is what 70 looks like, the new generation of beauty influencers. And this says that fed up with ageism in the industry, the most exciting new voices in beauty blogging are over 60.
Wow, that's right.
The last one is from the New York Times, and it is older people are ignored and distorted in ageist marketing, report finds. And this says recent research from AARP exposed how older people are shunned and caricatured in marketing images, perpetrating unrealistic stereotypes and contributing to age discrimination. So not only are they ignoring us, but when they are including us, they're adding to this problem of age discrimination. They need to
stop doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'm one to talk there because I do a podcast called Everyday Macaroni where we're talking about having dinner with my husband's parents who are in their 80s, and we make a lot of jokes about it. But that's because they're funny. And both of his parents are still sharp, and they have, they forget things sometimes, but they're funny and it's entertaining. So that's why we do that podcast and we make that content. But I agree with that. When you have that negative perception of how older people operate in the world and you perpetuate it, that's not a good thing. You need to maybe change that up, please.
Yeah, right? So anyway, to me, to see all these articles and things bringing attention to this problem outside of this huge report from the World Health Organization and the fact that they're focusing on this issue, these other articles that are raising our attention again to the fact that this is a problem. More people need to be paying attention to this because we're not going away. And in fact, you should be paying more attention because we're going to be the ones spending the money.
Oh, yeah, for sure. That's really something to think about. It is.
I know. So we wanted to leave you on those positive notes because I don't think all is lost here.
Oh, no.
There's just drawing attention to this.
Raising awareness, having a discussion.
Educating around it is so important. And the one thing I just want to leave you all with is that if we can't overcome this prejudice we have as far as the ageism, again, I'm going to point out, for younger people as well as for older people, we're going to be in a heap of trouble. It's just one of those other things we need to focus on being better at.
I agree.
That wasn't good English, but that...
That's okay. There's no grammar police up here in the podcasting room, and that's fine.
Because it can be detrimental to those who are on the receiving end of it. So, but let's leave on the good notes of all those articles that point out that there is so much available to those of us who are in that over 50 community. And we still have a lot to contribute, a lot to experience, and we're going to be out there doing it.
And vlogging about it. Or podcasting. I'm just saying.
or whatever, right? So
Wonderful.
yeah.
And now is an excellent opportunity for us to promote our friend Lorraine's retreat. So if any of you have been listening to the podcast for a while, and we hope you all have, we have had Lorraine Miano
Yes.
on as a guest a couple of times. And she is a menopause-focused health coach. And she is wonderful.
She is.
Love her so much. She's wonderful. She and Leslie Ender have created a retreat for women who are 45 and older. And it's called Amble and Rove Through Your Magical Menopause. I just love it. I think it's hysterical. It's October the 15th through the 21st, and it's in Italy,
Yes.
Tuscany. So we're going to put a link in the notes of this podcast episode, and we'll put links for all of the articles and information in the notes. But this is an inexpensive retreat, and there's going to be so much good stuff. We're going to continue to promote it until the seats are sold, and I think they're filling up pretty quickly.
Yeah, they are filling up quickly. So if you are interested, please reach out through the link and secure your spot.
And here are some of the things that are included in this trip. Wait till you hear.
Yeah.
You're going to visit quaint medieval villages. You're going to tour Florence. Possibly have access to a massage. I'm just saying. You'll have a wine tasting and tour, truffle hunt, cooking classes. You're going to do some yoga and meditation. Two of my favorite things. Some workshops on holistic health and navigating midlife. All of your meals are included, and I'm sure there's going to be a fair amount of wine and other activities. And if you have a girlfriend or a sister that you would like to take on this trip with you, this would be a great opportunity for a couple of you to go, or a small group, but you're going to have to sign up quickly because the rooms are going fast.
Yeah, she has some singles, some doubles, and I think maybe one triple left.
One or two.
Yeah, one or two triple rooms left. So anyway, we hope you will at least check it out and see if it's something of interest to you.
Yes. Sounds pretty good to me.
Okay. Well, I hope that this podcast was informative and at the end, at least uplifting, because there is hope. And I think just putting attention on this topic is the first step, and we're there.
We are. We're
so, yay.
Just like anything else, it's always fun talking to you about something.
We could go on and on.
We could, definitely.
So, anyway, please send us your questions, your thoughts in the comments section. We'd love to hear from you all.
Or via email.
Or via email too, or ideas for new topics for our podcast.
Yeah, let us know what you'd like us to talk about, and you can find us on social media too to help with that. So,
yes.
All right, thanks for listening. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of Girlish Gurus. We hope you'll join us next time for another fun and interesting topic. And please be sure to check the notes for information and links that were included in this discussion today.
Also, don't forget you can find us on our social media platforms, starting with Instagram, Facebook, and now, including YouTube. You can find us by searching Girlish Gurus. And please remember to give this episode a good review and share it with your girlfriends, because the more interaction we get with our podcast episodes, the more episodes we can post. Finally, you can find us on our website, girlishgurus.com.
Thanks again.
See you next time.
Bye.